Hi, welcome to this presentation presented by the New Jersey Hope and Healing Program, The Unexpected and Unknown, How to Cope. So, as we know, COVID-19 may have been around for a while, but constantly changing regulations have made it quite difficult to adapt, right? So even though we've been in this for some time, a lot is still unanticipated and unknown. And even if we thought we might know what to expect from certain things like the pre-law program, for example, we maybe had expectations about it when we were applying and when we were getting excited about starting it, it might seem different from how we imagined it. And, it's even more difficult to cope with something when you were excited about it. For example, like you might have been looking forward to a certain aspect of the summer program that might be different, such as, a housing situation or something like that. Maybe it didn't pan out how you thought it might. And that can help cope as well, because we have expectations that haven't been met for whatever reason. And, how can we cope with something when it goes differently from how we wanted or how we expected it to? So if you're home right now, for example, in your family home, you might think like, well, I've been doing college here before, like I've done this before. Why is it so tough now? Perhaps it's just difficult to adjust to the demanding workload and newness of this program, right? So we're going to talk about coping skills and cutting ourselves some slack in this presentation. First things first, we simply cannot control 100% of our surroundings. So let's start with a little exercise, right? Because the first step in coping with our situations is taking a moment to really take stock of what is going on, to really assess what can we control and what is out of control. And so perhaps there's things that you cannot control, right? Something like taking care of siblings or other family members, responsibilities in the household, inconsistent Wi-Fi, lack of private workspace. We probably can't control the fact that these are part of reality. And there might be things that you can control. So perhaps looking through syllabi to organize the work that you have to make it more manageable, maybe thinking about due dates, creating a regular sleep schedule, setting boundaries with people you live with, being strict with distractors during classes, maybe, such as being on your phone, and taking effort to reach out to other people in the program so you don't feel isolated. So those are just some ideas. I invite you to pause the webinar for a few minutes and jot down some things that you can control and some things that you cannot. So I'll pause here, but please feel free to pause the video itself. A reminder, if you haven't paused the video, I really encourage you to do this. This is a great first step. And when you're done, I also suggest that if you know that someone else is watching this webinar, maybe take a moment to connect and share with them. Maybe you have similar things, maybe you have different things. It's a good moment to connect with somebody else in the program. Next, we're going to be talking about problem solving what is in your control. So when you take a look at that list, what's in your control and what's not, if something's in your control, let's problem solve it. So make a plan to take care of the things that will make your day easier. It might feel overwhelming to even think about it. Like, oh, this is just such a huge assignment. Like thinking about it, even thinking about problem solving it is too much. It's really stressful, right? But actually it will make things easier for you to sort out the details before things progress. So really getting yourself to problem solve it would be really useful. And next, think, what do you need, right? So perhaps there's something you're missing. Is it time outside? Is it meeting new people, socialization with current friends, hobbies, right? So can you include what you need in your daily life? And maybe thinking about it creatively, right? So maybe you don't have access to what you need in the full degree that you would like, but perhaps you can get creative in accessing that need in some way. So, maybe what you would like to do is take a few hours off to spend the day with friends. And maybe that's just not possible during this particular week. Would a 20-minute phone call with a friend be enough, right? Maybe it might give you what you need. And now thinking about what we can't control, right? And acceptance is a really important first step. So, a note on acceptance is that it does not mean that you like something or you want something to happen or that it's clearly benefiting you in any way or that you can't be upset about it, right? So, we can accept something and be upset that it's happening. It doesn't mean that you are okay with it all. What it does mean is that you acknowledge that it is part of your reality. And it also is really important to remind yourself of your goals, right? So completing this program is a huge step for you. And it's a really important program, and you're going to learn so much from it. It may also be worthwhile to set aside specific time for a task and recognizing that, even if the task isn't completed to your personal standards during that window of time, right? So if you said, I'm going to sit down for an hour and finish this paper, an hour has passed, you've made progress, but you have not finished the paper. Accepting that I did the best I could in this time and I did not finish it, and I can still take my break, right? I had a lunch planned with a friend, like I can still do this. I plan to watch a show tonight, like I can still stop it. It's getting close to my bedtime. I should go to bed, right? So accepting the progress that you have made and moving on to the next thing. And so, what else can help? There are other strategies we can use to cope and help us when we are feeling overwhelmed. So here's some ideas, right, to cope when you feel overwhelmed. Making a to-do list, taking a break, going for a walk, creating a routine, choosing joy, checking the facts. Some of these are a little obvious, making a to-do list, of course, just kind of breaking down what you need to do in the day, taking a break, maybe taking 15 minutes to talk with someone or just, I don't know, scroll on your phone, whatever it is, whatever's going to kind of shut your brain off for a couple minutes. Go for a walk outside and connect with nature. Creating a routine, we'll get into that in the next slide. Choosing joy, in the middle of an overwhelming day, taking a few minutes to just engage in a hobby that really just brings you joy, or dance in your room to your favorite song, or something that's just its sole purpose is to bring you happiness for a few minutes. Do it. Do the happy thing. Checking the facts is a skill. Feel free to Google if you want some more information, but basically, checking the facts means, is my emotional response in proportion to the situation, right? So if I have a hard day, does that mean I'm a horrible student? No, right? You're probably a wonderful student and you can have a hard day, right? So just kind of figuring out what you need to accept and what kind of emotional response this situation deserves. So routine tips. Thinking about what should happen in each day is really important, right? So you're really going to go ahead and outline what has to get done in the day. Incorporating downtime to reduce stress is also really important, kind of like we talked about joy on the last slide. Plan ahead to avoid procrastination. So here, schedule in when you're going to get your work done, right? If you don't plan, you can get stressed out and forget about things that you have to do, right? So really making a mindful indication for yourself, like, okay, when it's 1 p.m., I am working on X assignment. Task batching. I personally really like this one. It's limiting the number of transitions you have to make. So basically, it's doing all of one task at once. So instead of keeping your email notifications all day and then just kind of like sending an email or replying to one when it comes in and then going back to a reading and then eventually writing a paper, right? Task batching helps some people because your mind is really focused on one thing and attends to it when it needs to, instead of constantly switching, like, okay, now I'm in email mode. Okay, now I'm in reading mode. Think about this with sending text messages too, right? Like you might not think that picking up your phone to answer a text while you're reading takes a lot of energy, but it takes your brain out of it. Just think about that. Thinking about your energy patterns. So do you work better in the morning, at night, right? Like schedule the working times that are best for you. Working with others. So this can be really important to consider if you live with family or even roommates. So check in with others about work routines if you need to share spaces, right? So trying to balance working with others with your energy patterns, and think about what can help you focus. So for some people, it can be tough to sit and listen to a lecture. Some people like to kind of combat this by taking a lot of notes, maybe even more notes than you think you're going to need later, but it'll just help you stay present in the moment and listen. Some people like to draw or color, just kind of doodling while they're listening because it keeps them focused, or keep their hands occupied in some way. I really like using Silly Putty when I listen to a lecture. It just kind of keeps me grounded and attending. And don't forget about the end of the day, right? So create a routine for yourself that you can engage in at the end of the day to really let go of the day and the stress that came up. It could be watching an episode of your favorite sitcom, changing into comfy clothes, putting on music, doing a workout, a stretching video, reading, checking in with a friend, whatever it is, like what works for you. Helping your brain turn off from the day and start to settle down into relaxed nighttime mode is really, really critical to let yourself unwind. Here are some further resources if you need a little extra support. So here's our link, our website where you can find us. Also, if you need to contact us for further resources, we can help put you in touch with further resources. These are ways that you can contact us. Thank you so much for watching this webinar. I hope you found it useful, and best of luck in your program this summer. Take care.